That hug was at a 14% APR. This is We Have Concerns. Hi, Jeff Cannata.
Hi, Anthony Carboni.
Hello, concerned citizens.
Anthony, Mars. We got to get there. We got to get there.
Listen, who's going to get us there? We used to believe in that idiot that runs Twitter. Now we don't trust him as far as we can throw him.
No, we can't
Who's
throw
going to
him
get
to
us
Mars.
there? How we go to Mars?
The problem is we done fucked this planet
Oh, buddy.
real hard.
Oh, buddy, you said
I
it.
don't know if you recall, but a mere couple of weeks ago, we did a story about how there's more concrete on Earth that we made than there is biomass of all the biological things on Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
we done fucked this planet real hard.
Yeah. Listen, I don't really have any other planets full of living creatures to compare it to.
Sure.
So the data set is very small. But here's
Yes.
what I'll tell you. Do feel a bit fucky.
Yeah.
Feel a bit fucky.
Well, this leads us to the need to get off this planet before it swirls down the drain of unusability.
Sure.
Right?
Now, Jeff, there are people that would tell you that very attitude is contributing to the destruction of Earth by saying it's fucked. Now we just have to fuck it into the ground because it doesn't matter as long as by the time we really truly have well fucked it, we can have a rocket ship somewhere else.
Well, I'm not endorsing that notion. I'm just saying that's some prevailing wisdom is let's get off of Earth and get onto Mars, and not just get to Mars, not just like, hey, here's a flag, boom, Mars, but let's move in. Let's build housing.
Sure.
Let's long term it, you know?
But here's the question that I have for you, Jeff.
Yeah.
We know that if we want to get on a rocket ship, any kind of starfaring craft, spacefaring vessel, we gotta just the amount of weight we're allowed to bring, the amount of stuff we're allowed to bring. Chris Hadfield got mad at him because he brought a ukulele and a harmonica. You know what I mean?
You're not allowed to do both of those.
You're not allowed to do both of those because you're only allowed one incredibly annoying instrument. That has less to do with weight and more to do with just etiquette, where they were like, look, you can only bring one twee Tumblr ass fucking 2011 YouTube instrument to space with you.
He's like, but I got that neck thing where I don't even have to use my hands on the harmonica.
Things. You now have 3 objects. That's what we call the Dick Van Dyke rule, and you're not allowed to Dick Van Dyke in space.
Yeah. Well,
so how are we going to, if we want to build things, Jeff, how do we get the stuff?
This is exactly what we're talking about this week. This is a story that was posted on our Discord, a fantastic place to be, that you can get access to by going to patreon.com/wehaveconcerns. Spielberg Newfer, our good buddy, our erstwhile contributor, posted a story about a new startup that has just announced. Well, it's researchers from the University of Manchester. They were
mad lads
in Manchester. They were united around this theme, but they didn't want to call themselves Manchester United because people kept showing up with different expectations.
Yeah, people kept getting drunk and punching them in the face. It was wild.
singing weird songs in their lobby.
Are they the ones that have the are they the footballs coming home? Are they that team, or is that another team?
I don't know.
I don't know
I'm not
either.
an expert. I don't know. I know
football's
football.
coming home. It's coming.
Okay.
Is that Ted Lasso?
That might be.
Anyway, what do those mad lads do?
These the University of Manchester. These some researchers there just published a new paper and are starting a startup based on this breakthrough research that might answer the very question that you're raising, which is, how are we gonna build stuff on Mars? How are we gonna get enough material to build stuff on Mars? We concreted up this planet. How are we gonna concrete Mars, to which they reply,
no. I know that you're about to make your point, but we have to stop. We have to stop because once again, Jeff, I have to say, it sounds like we're looking to run another planet into the ground in exactly the same way.
Well, when you say exactly the same, they figured out a way to make it slightly different.
Oh, okay. Well, as long as it's a slightly different way.
These guys have invented what they've dubbed, and I assume trademarked, Starcrete.
Starcrete.
This is concrete for Mars, Anthony. Starcrete.
Starcrete. When I hear Starcrete, Jeff, I think of super space age materials. I think of it's probably made of, if you take a microscope to it, it's made of hexagons in some way. You know what I mean? It's carbon weaving. It's
potatoes. It's
sorry,
potatoes. It's potatoes. They figured out how to make concrete out of potatoes.
Now, Jeff, when you say potatoes,
I say potatoes.
Why would they? Why?
Okay. Here's the logic. We're bringing potatoes to Mars anyway, right?
Are we?
We need. Well, yeah. Have you seen The Martian? Yeah, I believe.
We didn't even bring those potatoes. He had to make those potatoes.
Well, see, Matt Damon lived on potatoes, is my understanding.
He did, but he had to farm the potatoes first. So is the idea that we're farming potatoes?
Well, their concept is to bring dehydrated potatoes, or as they call them in Manchester, crisps.
Mm-hmm.
Dehydrated potatoes.
Yeah.
Up into space, into the stars. And they have managed to come up with a way to mix the starch from potatoes with literally the dirt on Mars to make concrete.
So
Starcrete.
Is this okay? So Starcrete then is a fancy word for, like, when I go to the coffee shop in my neighborhood that is just a little too overpriced, even for my overpriced neighborhood, and they hand me a fork, and they're like, "This fork is made from potato starch, and it can be composted, and this burger is $18." So we're gonna take the same stuff that makes the forks and the knives and the straws.
Yeah.
And we're going to make, I would imagine this uses some sort of a 3D printer. And no.
This is literally potato starch, which serves as the glue. This is the glue. Actual dirt from Mars, from the surface of Mars.
Okay.
And a little bit of salt.
For taste.
For taste.
Otherwise, potatoes are just a little too bland on their own.
Of course, you need to allow a little, just a touch, just a pinch, just a hint.
Mm-hmm.
A soupçon of salt. Where are they going to get that salt from, Anthony? Well, there's two options in their paper. This is literally their suggestion of solving this problem. Where are we going to get the salt? We may be able to get some salt from the surface of Mars. You can find salt on Mars.
Great.
Or plan B, Anthony. And again, I need to stress, this is literally their plan. I'm not making this up. This is their suggestion of how we can add salt to the Starcrete. We can use astronaut tears.
Because there's going to be a lot of them. Let me tell you, there's going to be a lot of them. If you're one of the first people to go to Mars, you are going to spend basically the rest of your life crying.
They looked around and they said, what are we going to have an abundance of? Oh, yeah, astronaut tears.
Oh, when these
so
people
much of it
when they get to Mars and they realize the decision they've made and that they're going to see the same 6 people until they die and they're never going to have a hamburger again and they're never going to, you know what I mean? And like, there's
and
so much
all
good.
Red. It's all red as far as the eye can see.
It's the golden age of television and they're missing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, man. The final season of Succession. It's probably going to be like a new Severance they're not going to see.
Oh, my God. A new Severance. They just announced the Scott Pilgrim anime.
Oh, man.
Like, you're going to miss all that. You're going to miss all that.
Years.
I think also when you realize that for the good of mankind, but also mostly your ego, you sent yourself to a horrible, dry, disgusting, lifeless planet to spend the rest of your days. You basically put yourself into solitary confinement.
Yeah.
I would imagine they're going to be crying a lot.
This is their actual plan is
I
little
think Mars is like
tears.
30% sad masturbation. Like, if you think about it, like, I think Mars is basically like 30% sad masturbating.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. You get there, you've been in cryo sleep, you know? You get there, the door opens, you walk out and you're like, I'm going to go wank it, I think.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to wank it.
And you're going to get tired. You're definitely going to get tired of potatoes because you're going to be eating potatoes. Now you're going to be building things out of potatoes. Those tears, they're buildings of sadness, Jeff. We're counting on sadness being so built into the Pioneer space experience that we're like, oh, it's an unending resource.
Well, we use what you got, they said.
Sure.
Use what you got.
Well, that's like, we talked about how going to Mars, it's like, well, where are we going to put all the poop on the way to Mars? And it's like, well, you put it in these foil bags and then you put the foil bags in the wall of the starship and then it becomes insulation against radiation. Your entire life is shit and crying. and
little bit of masturbation and salt.
One guy who snuck a ukulele and really wants to play Adventure Time songs until you die. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's problems. I think going to Mars is problems. And this like really, not only did the Mad Lads put this in their paper, they're building a business based on astronaut tears. Our business is space sadness, they said.
Space sadness. We're in the business of space sadness, and business, my friends, is booming.
Ooh, there ain't nothing but sadness out there. And let me tell you something. Coming from the gray rainy, the gray rainy, early influential rock roots of Manchester, I think they're familiar with a constant sadness. I think it's built into it. Sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think we got the gray existence.
We got the experts in the field on this one.
That's right. That's right.
So let me tell you a little bit about Starcrete because it's kind of remarkable. Potato starch, pinch of salt, space dust, dirt.
Tears.
They've managed to figure out a way to create a substance that is actually more than twice as strong as Earth concrete.
Oh, yeah, because those aren't just anybody's tears. Those are astronaut tears.
The best tears money can buy.
That's the top 1% of mental and physical sadness.
Yeah, the best of the best in tears.
Those tears rode that centrifuge chair.
Yeah,
and survived and passed out maybe, but kept crying.
Just kept on crying. So a normal block of concrete here on Earth, of which we have more than all the biomass on the planet, is about 32 megapascals strong.
Now, how many Pedro Pascals are in a megapascal?
Not enough, I'll tell you that.
He's a national treasure.
Put that guy in everything. That's what I want to know. That's what I want to see. And Starcrete, so 32 megapascals for concrete. Okay. Starcrete, 72 megapascals. This is strong, sturdy stuff.
Wow. Wow.
It's not going to break. It's not going to crush. It's going to be on Mars forever.
Now, this may just be because I am used to when I get handed the potato starch fork from the fancy coffee shop. Yeah. They let me know how easily it is compostable, how it's biodegradable, how it falls. Like basically, I'm picturing Starcrete. I know there's not rain on Mars, but I'm picturing Starcrete with a little bit of water, a little bit of whatever, just kind of dissolves. Is that a problem? Is that something they've thought about?
Evidently, the process, crazily enough, you would think concrete, it takes a lot to pressurize it, make it, make concrete.
Yeah. And that's mostly water too. You think that maybe Starcrete, it would take, blasting it with an insane amount of heat to bake it. No. They make Starcrete by basically the same amount of heat that you would get in a microwave oven on Earth. You can literally just microwave the substance, 3 ingredients, put it in the equivalent of a regular oven or a microwave oven, and you can create bricks of Starcrete that can survive the elements on Mars. This is an incredibly efficient, easy process, comparatively. Yeah. This is wild. I mean, okay.
Wild.
So there are questions that obviously have to be answered here. I mean, first of all, yes. The fact that this is just dirt and tears and potatoes. I mean, to think that during the Great Depression we almost had Starcrete.
We just almost had on. Ireland was almost full of Starcrete.
Listen, there was a time during the 1920s when we were so poor as a country and we were just eating potatoes and crying, and if we had just added a little bit of dirt, we would have been there. Man, we were so close.
So close. Could have happened on its own.
My grandparents nearly invented Starcrete. But this also makes me think like, so this sounds simple, but when you say microwaved or put in an oven, then there are questions to be answered, right? So this is the building materials side of the question. The other side of the question is the generation of enough power to create enough heat consistently and on a large enough scale to where we're not just making a brick of this stuff at a time in an astronaut easy bake oven.
Sure.
Where they cry into a funnel and then they get out the tiny little plastic pan and they put it in, and the little space light bulb makes one brick of Starcrete and a shitty brownie. And you have to eat the shitty brownie and tell the astronaut that made it that, it's very good. Best brownie I've ever had. And then you have to go throw up because they just made a raw brownie.
Yeah. Well, but this is, a huge benefit that you're talking about the amount of energy it would take to do this. It's just a fraction of the amount of energy you might expect to create this kind of sturdy building material. They've managed to do it in a very achievable level of energy expense.
No, I mean, this sounds like when we talk about other things that other plans for Mars, we're talking about things that are like step 1, go to Mars, step 2, question, step 3, utopia. Right. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because we have a lot of stuff that's like, oh, we'll terraform or we'll build large, like I was thinking those large scale 3D printers that they've talked about before that like pour the building materials, or, all of this stuff where it's like, yeah, but we're missing large portions of this, which is, how do we farm enough power to do it? How do we build these things? What do we do if on a 30-year mission, the second spaceship that's sending the 3D printer goes off course, or something happens to it, and then the entire leg of the 3D print, like we have a lot of like quote unquote solutions for Mars, but they're missing huge swaths of actual logic and logistics. What is the plan to build the easy bake oven? Is there one, or is that one of those things that's question?
That's a bit of a question. That's not the problem they're solving. They're saying, hey, we managed to create this fundamental building material that's easy to make and is made of stuff we're going to have a lot of when we get there. So the idea here is that a 50-pound bag of dehydrated potato crisps will get you 217 bricks of Starcrete.
Okay.
The bad news is a 2-bedroom house is about 7,500 bricks, right? So you're going to need a lot. You're going to need a lot, but that's a pretty darn good ratio. You're talking about weight. 50-pound bag gives you 217 bricks. That's pretty darn good for efficiency. We don't have anything comparable to that right now.
But that brings up my second question, Jeff. Who gives a fuck about Mars? If Starcrete's so good, so cheap, is the Mars dirt such a big factor in this that it has to be Mars dirt? Or why? Or can we start making Starcrete right here?
Well, that's what their startup is talking about. That's why they built a startup on Earth. Here now, right now,
you should really be building your startup on Mars, though. I mean,
really
by the age of 30 in your network, you should have 3 people that are building startups on Mars.
Yeah,
rise and grind. Not even serious.
Yeah,
hustle.
Grind. No, the startup that they're starting today is to apply this to try to replace concrete on Earth, and because it's a greener solution, there's a lot of concrete accounts for 8% of our global carbon emissions, so this would be a greener solution to that. It takes a lot less energy to, bake it. Mm-hmm. It's pretty useful here. And they did research, if we want to build some stuff on the moon, which we don't. But listen, because we could concrete the moon real good, Anthony.
Listen.
We've done concreted Earth.
No, the moon is very important. We cannot fuck with the moon.
We can concrete the living shit out of the moon. And listen to this. Listen to this. They did some experiments with moon dirt. Subbing in moon dirt for Mars dirt.
Where'd they get this fucking moon dirt?
Oh, wow. Wait till we get there, Anthony. That's my favorite part of this entire
moon dirt?
Just wait.
Who
I got to tell you about the moon dirt.
Lads in Manchester this fucking moon dirt?
Let me tell you, so the moon dirt gets them something that is 91 megapascals. We were at 72 with Mars dirt. Moon dirt, even better, 91 megapascals. That shit's going to be on the moon forever, ever.
No.
But okay, so you're drawing me to my favorite part of this story.
No.
My favorite.
Don't fuck with the moon.
Favorite
Please
part of this story.
Don't fuck with the moon.
Okay, listen to this. So buried, I read like 3 different articles about Starcrete. And only one of them, there is a offhanded mention of how they tested this. And they said they got. Have you ever heard the term regolith? It's not just your new D&D character.
Yeah, regolith is one of the sleeping ones. Regolith is one, and one day regolith will return, and the world will weep as astronaut tears, and and our tears will create the very building blocks of regolith's great palace.
Indeed. All shall kneel before regolith.
Isn't it just dirt? Isn't regolith dirt?
Regolith means dirt. So I'm going to use that term from now on. Literally, let me read you the dictionary definition of regolith, a word I had not heard until today. The layer of unconsolidated rocky material covering bedrock.
That's just dirt.
That's dirt, yo. That is dirt. So regolith is dirt.
That's also the shittiest kind of dirt because it's like the real sandy, crusty, like you can't do anything good with that dirt.
Well, now you can. Combine it with astronaut tears and potatoes. So check this out. So buried in one of these articles is this just one sentence offhanded mention
that will rise regolith.
Regolith will stir him from his eternal slumber. No.
Don't look upon regolith.
Do not tease regolith.
To see regolith's visage is to see madness.
Yeah. He of the dirt shall
madness,
return
by the
you
way,
to the
not
dirt.
part of the Manchester movement. I believe they were from London.
So no, let me tell you, like I said, buried in just one little sentence is the fact that these guys from Manchester, these scientists, tested using dirt from a company called Exolith. So you know what I did, Anthony? I Googled that right away.
You know what I did?
Let me tell you.
I invested in Exolith without reading anything about their ethics. Line,
Let me
go
tell
up.
you. Let me tell you about Exolith. This company is amazing. They make what they call on their so you go to exolithstimulants.com.
Ooh, I don't like the sound of that.
You can buy lunar stimulant. Sorry, I said stimulants.
Yeah, because when you say that, I'm picturing like if you buy an Exolith stimulant, you put it right into your neck. And then you get like
dirt
double kills.
Right up.
Yeah,
you just dirt yourself right up. No, pardon my faux pas. Simulants, excellent simulants. So you can buy lunar simulants or Martian simulants.
Wait,
this is a company that make moon dirt and Mars dirt.
So they take the material composition of things that we've found on the moon and on Mars, and they recreate it using terrestrial materials.
Yes. And for $45, you can buy your own high-fidelity moon dirt simulant.
You know, you got to be careful, though.
$45.
You got to be careful when something says that it's a high-fidelity simulant, because I bought some speaker cables that had solid gold plating for my hi-fi experience.
Sure.
And I could not hear the difference. And some people say that they can, but I think it's a lie. I think it might be a scam.
Excellent. Seems like the real deal to me. Listen to this. Quote, we enable space development and growth by providing high-fidelity analogs to researchers and educators globally. That's all they do is make space dirts.
Dude.
This is the coolest thing. There's Exolab collectibles that you can buy, Martian simulants, educational kits. That's all this company does is they make space dirt. I'm clicking on the link right at the top that says join our team.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you?
If you're watching the video version, I brought it up here. They've just got little piles of fake moon dust.
$45. Get you some moon dirt.
It looks like a very small amount of moon dirt. They've got like a D6 next to it. It's like a science D6.
It is. This is for measuring.
I guess I would imagine that's like that's an exact centimeter. It's not, you don't get a lot of space dirt for $45. This is a scam.
Well, our friends in Manchester used Exolith. I can't imagine there's a competitor to Exolith, right? They got a monopoly on the dirt manufacturing biz.
They've cornered the market. If you go into their educational products, they have astrobiology adventure for kids where you grow plants in moon dust. That's actually very cool. Seeing what kind of plants grow in moon dust.
Come on.
This is cool.
Right? Exolith, dude, join our team. It literally says, calling all high school students, come intern at Exolith. They're in San Francisco, I think, or somewhere down there in the Bay Area.
Okay, but here's what I'm picturing this as. I'm picturing this as you go to intern for Exolith, and they just hand you a large shovel, Jeff. Like they're just go back out into the quarry and get us some stuff that we can turn into fake moon dust.
I want to know how they know that it's authentic. Like, what's the criteria to make sure? Like, you're just trusting Exolith that this is moon dust?
Yeah, I mean, so what research has your simulant been used for? How does Exolith know what to put in the simulants? Through previously done analysis of the regolith on Moon, Mars, and asteroids, we know the percentage of each mineral required in each simulant. So you would think that, you would imagine that they received from NASA, maybe from other space agencies around the world. Yeah. They've received some of this dust, or at least the readings and the research about some of this dust, and they've used those to recreate it, which means, like, can I get the recipe for moon dust? Can I be the small artisanal moon dust maker on
yes,
Etsy?
Maybe we should get on Etsy and just
that takes these
selling
motherfuckers down. I'm tired of big regolith.
Big regolith. I love their fact says, what does it mean for a simulant to be high fidelity? A high fidelity simulant replicates the essential aspects of a regolith. These include mineralogy, geochemistry, geotechnical properties, particle size, etc.
Okay, great.
It also says, how should I store my simulant? Simulant should be stored in a sealed container to avoid dust from mixing with the air.
Yeah, sure. You don't want air dust in your moon dust.
That sounds, well, I guess that's true. You don't want to contaminate it, but it does sound dangerous to me.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
What does it say about huffing it and what that's like?
Get high on moon dust,
get
baby.
Get a kilo of moon dust and see what's up.
Do not snort our exolith.
So Starcrete, their startup was using dust from exolith.
Yes.
To simulate this, but we were talking about they tried it with Moon, they tried it with Mars. Have they tried it with Earth?
Well, that's what their startup is about. Is to try to use this process to replace concrete, to make a greener, more sustainable version of concrete.
So they have tried, or they're about to try, but we don't have the data on their findings for Earth dust yet.
Either that or exolith is about to get a lot of orders. You know what I'm saying?
See, but that ruins the cost effectiveness of it. When you're paying $45 for some like pure, not street quality, but like pure moon dust. That's not going to be, you can't do
high
that.
Fidelity.
Yeah, high fidelity.
Yeah.
I think that's really interesting. If they can figure out how to do it with the regolith from Earth,
I can't
this
imagine.
sounds like a very viable building material.
It's remarkable. You're getting literally a ton or nearly a ton of Starcrete from 50 pounds of dehydrated potatoes.
Now,
that's extraordinary.
That is extraordinary. But Jeff, I want to bring up one final question that I have here. So the name of this startup is I'm looking, it's called Deacon Bio is the name of their startup. And they've apparently been trying to crack this formula for a long time, Jeff.
Are you getting to my very favorite thing?
I have a question, because right now we're doing it with tears and dust, but it sounds like just a few years ago, they could only do it with human blood and urine. Is that correct? Am I reading this correctly?
That was their first plan. Their first plan was to use astronaut blood and urine. That was plan A. That's where they started. They got to tears and potatoes, but they started making concrete with blood and urine as the binding agent. The binding agent in Starcrete is potatoes. They didn't start with potatoes, Anthony. They started with blood and urine.
Jeff, regolith definitely is a dark god. This is sacrificial rites to a dark god to build your life. You are, because we've talked before, you don't want an astronaut to bleed. If an astronaut is bleeding, shit is fucked. Shit is so fucked. Like, we know this. So if an astronaut even bleeds a little bit, it's a huge, huge deal. So the fact that they were like, listen, these guys are going to die. Why don't we grind them up to use them as the building blocks of our new empire?
We'll let them piss into the brick pit. And then when they die, we'll just toss their corpse in there too.
Their piss and blood will build a new society.
This was the first plan. And they actually succeeded. They created a concrete substitute that had 40 megapascals of strength, which again, still stronger than concrete, which is at 32. But they got to 72 by subbing out the blood and urine and subbing in potatoes.
This is a lesson for capitalism. You don't have to use the blood and urine of your workers. You don't need to kill your workers.
It's not always the best plan.
It's to make your material. You don't
literally squeeze Squeeze any fluids out of them that you can.
You simply don't need to kill your workers.
You got to wonder how they got to the tears thing. It probably was a real offshoot of the blood and urine thing.
They were probably crying on the sacrificial block before they were killed. And the tears accidentally got into the Starcrete, and they were like, hold on. It's like a Monsters, Inc. situation.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, we've got to scare the children. Oh, wait, we don't have to scare the children. If the children laugh, it's actually more powerful. Oh, okay. You're telling me that we don't have to kill astronauts. We can just make them sad.
Make them cry.
Which they naturally are. Jeff.
I got to read you the quote from, this is from Aled Roberts, who is one of our Manchester friends, a research fellow at the Future Biomanufacturing Research Hub,
and
lead researcher,
rhythm guitarist for the Stone Roses.
Exactly. This is lead researcher on the project.
Do you think anybody is going to get my Manchester jokes?
No.
Yeah. Okay. Go on.
But I don't want that to discourage you.
No, and it never will.
Okay, good. So Mr. Roberts, I don't know if he's Dr. Roberts. It doesn't say doctor. Anyway, lead researcher on this project said that the potato Starcrete is the one they're going to launch the startup with. It's preferable because, quote, astronauts probably don't want to be living in houses made from scabs and urine. Probably. We haven't asked them. I haven't done. Listen, in the field of science, this is a hypothesis. We started with scabs and urine.
And now we
thought, probably don't want that.
Look, we thought that astronauts would not want to live in homes that were simply the ghosts of their friends.
God, I love this guy.
I
love this story so much.
I didn't see a problem with it.
Potato houses, and it gets so dark. Potato houses on Mars, everybody. Yeah, we started with blood and urine.
Well, that's the thing is when they thought about what are the materials that are available to us in abundance, they thought, surely human blood.
What are we going to have?
There are pints inside of everyone.
What are we bringing to Mars anyway? You know, like they looked at the inventory list. What can we use that's already being brought? There's just like these meat sacks are bringing they're actually making their own blood. We can just use that.
Look, here's the thing. We've crunched the numbers on the amount of energy it's going to take to make the oven to make the bricks. And it's a lot. Heating something up to that temperature is going to be tough. Now, building one hydraulic press capable of squishy one astronaut. Very little power.
So little.
Every week, they will draw straws, Shirley Jackson style. And one of them will simply become the bricks from which the others build their homes.
We'll just siphon all of their life force and use it to build the houses that will never disintegrate. You know? They'll be there forever is what we're saying.
Thank goodness somebody stepped in and stopped this madman, this mad lad from doing what he initially wanted to do.
There's just one dude in the corner of the conference room who's like, I noticed they're also going to probably be bringing some potatoes.
Yes, but they need to eat the potatoes, idiot. And they'll need to eat fewer and fewer potatoes as we kill more and more of them. So what are we going to do with the potatoes, dummy? Put him in the squisher. Get me tickets to the 808 State concert. I refuse to give up on this Manchester bit.
Hello, Exolith. Yeah, I need another 14 pounds of Mars dust to mix with the blood of my colleagues. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud? I meant I just
Exolith is like, we don't care what you do with it. That's not our job. Our job is to trick you into thinking you're getting Mars dirt. I mean, send you Mars dirt. Look, I'm not going to say
a great story or what? This is a great story.
It's a great story, but I'm not going to say that this doesn't sound like darkness and corruption all the way down.
Yeah. It's going to, we need to get to Mars, and, however we can do it, let's just do it. Because we got to get
Carmackian a term yet?
It is now.
Because this is literally what's going on, is they're trying to build doom on Mars.
Yeah.
Like they're trying to.
Yeah. No, I think you're right.
They're trying to turn it into a cosmic horror hellscape. And you know what? I'm cool with it. Because maybe if they do that and all we get back from Mars is like horrible, glitchy videos that are filled with static and people screaming.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's Fred Regolith has arrived.
Giant French fries. Bloodlust. Maybe if those are the kinds of things that we're getting back, we will stop this. It doesn't matter what we do with the Earth as long as we get off of it, and we'll go, oh, maybe we should stay on the Earth and protect it. Maybe. It seems like
we roll the dice.
Shot.
We roll the dice on the whole, potato and tears plan.
Let's just roll the dice on it. What could it do? What can it do?
You see a picture of the die right next to the sand, to the dirt. We roll that die.
We've already compromised on blood and urine. We refuse to compromise any further. Yeah, this is terrifying. Thank you, Spielberg Newfer, for sending along this nightmarish cosmic horror to us.
Sometimes we get stories and it's just so perfect for our show. Truly. I love it.
If you want to submit a story, remember that the best place to do that is on our Discord. Remember, if you want access to the Discord, you can get it for just $1 a month. Head to patreon.com/wehaveconcerns. It's the only way we support the show. It's the only way we keep it running. So thank you, everybody who does that. Remember, check out that Patreon to get some more bonuses, including like entire bonus episodes like the one that we gave you a preview of a couple weeks ago. And also remember that anybody who just needs your blood for something, well, we did initially ask for people's blood on our Patreon.
That's us.
That was me.
Still the video that's on the Patreon. So
maybe listen to them is all I'm saying.
Trust them.
Trust them implicitly.